let's get started on this pom-pom hat. It matches my pom-pom scarf. It's a different stitch, but it looks very similar. Okay, I measured from the top of my head to about mid-ear. It's around 8.5 inches. So I made my chain of 16 using a 10mm hook, and I'm ready to go. I'm making this flat, so I will make it as wide as I need it. My head circumference is around 22 inches, that big head. So I'm going to make this just a little over 20 inches wide because you want to allow for some stretch. All right, so come into the second chain. Skip that first one. Come into the second chain. With single crochet, we're just going to do single crochet all the way across the row. This is just going to give you a little foundation. The rest of the rows will be back loop only, again to give it a little bit of stretch. Your brim will be a ribbed brim, and that will be stretchy as well. We'll add the brim before we make the seam and before we close the top up. It's very easy. All right, I'll meet you when I'm at the end of my row. Yours may be different. At the end of row 1. Because I had 16 chains, I now have 15 stitches because I skipped over that first chain. So however many chains you started with, you'll have one less stitch. All right, let's chain 1, turn your work. And remember, we're going to be working in the back loop only. There's your first stitch. Turn it over and find that back loop. It's going to be right there. Go in here. We're going to do half double crochet in that first stitch, and these are going to be linked half double crochet. All right, you have 3 loops here. You see those? Come into the middle one and pull your yarn through. And now go to the next stitch, back loop only, and pull your yarn through. Pull that loop up, and now just complete a half double crochet by coming through all 3 loops. And that's what you're going to do the rest of the row. You have 3 loops here. Come into that middle loop, go into the back loop only of the next loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. And do that for the rest of the row. And I'll meet you at the end of the row. The last stitch can be a little tricky. This is my last stitch here. So I'm going to make my linked half double. I'm still going to go into that back loop only. If you want to, you can grab the loop from before to make it a little straighter, but you don't have to. We're going to be making a brim on one end and making weaving in, cinching it together on the other end. And it really doesn't matter. This is going to be reversible. You can work on either side. Same thing. We're just repeating row 2 from now on. Yarn over, go in the back loop, make a half double crochet. Half double crochet only goes in the first stitch. The rest of them are the linked half double crochet. It makes a nice pattern, and it doesn't leave any holes or gaps. I like all the linked stitches. I like linked treble crochet because it's a really tall stitch, but it doesn't leave any holes or gaps. I have a blanket, a couple of blankets made with Bernat Blanket yarn and Bernat Blanket jumbo All right, so this is what you're going to do until it's as wide as you like. And like I said, mine is a little over 20, around 21 inches, with my head being 22 inches around. I'll leave a link on my website. I have a standard hat size, circumference size hat chart. So if you go to my website, www.i-crochet.com, you can find it there. Now, I will meet you when mine is as wide as I want, and we'll start making the brim. Okay, my hat is approximately 21 inches. Hang on just a minute, there we go. There's my last row. It doesn't matter which side you end up on because it's reversible. All right, so that was my last stitch. I'm going to chain one, and we're going to come across here, whichever end you ended up on, doesn't matter. And we're just going to make single crochet all the way across because that will make it easy for you to link your stitches in for your brim. You can see I've already actually gone across here. If you want your brim to automatically turn up, then go into the front loops here as best you can. If you don't care about that, then you can go into any loop. I would suggest you try to hold on to just one loop so you don't end up with big gaps there. I am going to go in what I'm considering the front loop and all single crochet. So what I found was there's one, there's one, there's one, and there's one. Just kind of feel for it and go across and make all your single crochet to the end. And I will meet you when I'm at the end. I'm at the end of my row. This is what it's looking like. I did switch over to an 8mm. If you're already using a smaller hook than a 10mm, go a size or two smaller than what that is. All right, now I'm going to chain 6. Depends on how wide you want your brim. Oops, 1, 2, 3. There'll be a lot of counting. 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to flip my work. All right. Because I have 6 chains, I'm going to come down with slip stitches, and I will have 5 because you have to skip that first one. So I'm coming in with 5 slip stitches. A slip stitch and back loop only makes a really nice stretchy brim. Single crochet does as well. This is really thick super bulky 6-weight yarn, so it looked a little too thick to me in the single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and sometimes that last chain or stitch as you're going down. Slip stitch. Hope I did all slip stitches. I was talking. Okay, now pull on your work where you came out of. Don't go into that chain. Go into the next one with a slip stitch, and then go into the next stitch with a slip stitch. And then you're going to flip like this. And we're going to be working to the back loop only. I have a tendency to go into the wrong stitch, and you would have too many. You want to make sure you have 5. I like to count from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I probably would have wanted to go in there, and that's not right. Find your back loop only. Slip stitch. Keep it kind of loose. Slip stitch. All the way up. Normally I would go into both loops at the top, but because this is such a small stitch, it works out just fine to go into the back loop. You don't leave much of a gap there. Always chain one, flip. I did want to mention this is Bernat Baby Blanket yarn. We're going across this way. In vanilla, I ordered another skein of the same thing, and it was a little more yellow than this. This came in a 2-pack. This looks identical to me to Bernat Blanket Vintage White, and it was actually a better price. So that's why I got it. And this is what I made the scarf in as well. All right, back loop only. Remember, you did your chain one. That's important. And a lot of counting. 2, 3, 4. It's really important to count because it's very easy to miss this last stitch. It gets hidden in here. And then it's hard for you to see, but it's sometimes you have to almost feel for it. And that's another good reason to keep your stitches kind of loose so you won't get too lost. All right, feel where that stitch is coming out of. Don't go in there. Go in the next one. Slip stitch. Slip stitch. Make sure you're staying on this row. Don't go down here. How do I know? Because I've done that. Especially when you're at the beginning. Again, I need to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't go into that one. And work your way back up. 1, 2. Oop. Back loops only. 3, 4, and 5. And don't forget your chain one. Or I should say, remember your chain one. Supposedly that makes it easier. Okay, and because I did the front loop only of my single crochet, it's going to want to make itself fold back up on itself, and that's what I want. So do that all the way across, and I'll meet you when we're at the end of our brim. Okay, when I got to the end, my edge here, I only have 1 stitch left instead of 2. So I'll just make 1 slip stitch and turn because I want to end up here, top of my brim, so that I can come back down with my seam. So there's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and chain 1. This is what it's looking like. As I said, you can either side, it's completely reversible. So whichever side that you decide you want to be the outside, mine was flipping up this way. All right, I want this to be what shows. So that's the right side, and I'm going to put the right sides together. Oops, I lost my... That's what keeps it from shaking too much. Oh, that makes it look gray. It's just a shadow. See? Let me see if I can fix it. I think it's just the way the sun is shining at the moment. Okay, well, here we go. We're going to seam this together. We're going to try to match up each stitch, and it should match up, but if you don't, you can always skip over one or go into one twice. It doesn't matter that much. Let's see, I want to get this over here. Come into that very, very first stitch there, just 1 loop, and pull through for a slip stitch. Now, on this side, we're going to go into 2 loops. On this side, we're going to go into just the loop that's closest to the middle. I guess we'll call that the front loop. Okay, I need to pull that tight. Even tighter. Hang on. Tell you what, I'm going to pull this loop through here. There. That got it nice and tight. Now we're going to start. Find your next loop, or you can have 2 loops. Don't go into the one that you just came out of. Go into the next one and just the loop that's closest to the middle. Just 1 loop on that side, 2 loops on this side, and pull all the way through for a slip stitch. Again, go through 2 loops on this side. Find your next stitch here, and just 1 loop that's closest to the middle. And that's what you're going to do all the way up. And again, if you end up with a stitch or 2 off, either add a stitch or take away a stitch. It's not going to show, but it should line up. All right, I'll meet you when I get to the top. I'm at the top. In my very last stitch, I went through 2 loops on both sides. Pull it tight. This is what it looks like on the inside. And now we're going to flip it right side out. There's my seam. There's the seam right here. Pretty much disappears. I found that to be a good way to do the seams on these. I don't know what's going on with my camera here. It's not as in focus as I would like. All right, so I'm going to continue with my 8mm. Grab some more yarn here. And remember, we're working on the right side now. And we're just going to go through and make the top a little bit smaller before we weave in. So let's go, I want to go in the back loop here. I'm just trying not to leave gaps. So we're going to go in and put 2 single crochet together. So that's just going in the loop, pulling the yarn through, going in the next loop, pulling the yarn through, and pulling through all 3 loops. Okay. Go in the next, find your next loop. You look at it from the other side, pull through, go in your next loop, pull through. Well, see, that's just called a decrease, and it's pulling these together because you're pulling 2 stitches together. Continue on. If you want to go through 2 loops, you can. It's hard for you to find the 1 loop. It's hard for me to find the 1 loop in the back, so some of them will be in the front, some of them will be in the back. But as long as you don't have big holes or gaps, that's the important thing. Yep. Go all the way around, and I'll meet you when I get to my first. I have reached the stitch I started with. You could go around 1 more time if you wanted to. I'm not going to. I don't want to make it too long. This is going to really help give you those nice stitches to weave in and out of and not leave any holes. Okay, go into that first stitch that you made and pull through. You're going to join it with a slip stitch. Chain 1. Give yourself a nice long tail because that's what we're going to use to weave in and out. All right, cut that. Pull it through my chain. I can let go of my hook now because we're going to start working with a needle, tapestry needle. If you don't have a tapestry needle and you have a stitch marker like this. Where am I? You could use that to pull in and out. And let me find my needle. I think I got my lighting right now. All right, I have pulled through my chain. I have my yarn threaded on my needle now. And I am simply going to go in and out one loop here. I'm just weaving in and out. I did not need that much yarn, but I'd rather have too much than too little. I also don't like wasting any, so okay, already came in that one. In and out. In. Try doing this while you're looking at the screen. Maybe it's just me. I have trouble with it. Let's see. In, out. And you can see that it's just cinching it together. And just keep going until you're back at the beginning. One little bitty hole here. Okay. Now, pull it as tightly as you can without breaking the yarn. This yarn does break if you pull really, really tightly because it's like a string with fluffy yarn on it. Okay. Normally, I'll put my finger in here inside. I'll come across, gather up one loop there, and come across here. Just find a little bit of a loop and make pretty much an X or plus sign. Just make sure you don't have a hole. That's the top. It looks pretty good. Right there is my hole. I am going to be adding a pom-pom. I'm going to leave this. You don't have to add a pom-pom. So you can either have it like this, and it might end up being more of a slouchy hat. I'm going to pull my brim up like this, and it's more of a beanie. Again, you don't have to put the pom-pom on. As you can see, this stitch is very, very similar to the other one. You might want to make this stitch when you make your scarf instead of the stitch pattern that I use. This is actually easier. I'm always trying new stitches together. I really like this a lot. Okay, I'll be back when I have my pom-pom on, and I'll show it to you with the scarf. It's cute, cute, cute. Okay, I made my pom-pom. I have a Clover pom-pom maker. Game changer. Made it much easier. I still need to trim some ends. I have some nice sharp scissors. I'll do that after a bit. And if you want to be able to remove it, you can just tie it in a bow on the inside. A lot of people put a button on the inside and thread it through that so it stays on without flopping around. I'm going to tie mine pretty tightly. I'm using a smaller hook. I'm going on the inside here, up to the top, on my top edge here. Go just to the side of it. We have two strands to pull through here. Pull one through, all the way through, and go back up to the top. Come on just the other side of the middle there. There's my middle. There's where I went in. I'll come in just on this side. Doesn't matter which way, just a little bit across from it. and pull it through with my hook. And grab both of those. Well, I have one. Where'd the other one go? Did not come through. There's one. There it is. I just wasn't finding it. Pull, pull. Make sure it's where you want it. And I'm just going to simply, I'll tie it pretty tightly because again, you don't want it flopping around. But I'm just going to tie mine in a bow. I'll do a double bow because I might want to take it off. I'm not sure. And I'll weave those ends in just to get them out of the way. Oop. Okay. There's the pom-pom. There's the hat. And I'll go put it with a scarf and show you some pictures in just a minute. Okay. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you made it. If you had any issues, let me know in the comments section. I'll help you out. And if you want to see any of my patterns again, they're at www.i-crochet.com. They're all free. Thanks for watching.